6 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Hassan Gilani. First, the headline. Prime Minister left for France today to attend two-day new Global Financing Pact Summit beginning in Paris tomorrow. Finance Minister says government is committed to complete IMF program. Economic Coordination Committee has allowed government agencies to import pharmaceutical raw material to ensure availability of medicines in the country. National Assembly, in a unanimous resolution today, paid rich tribute to former Prime Minister Shahid Benazir Bhutto for her struggle for democracy in Pakistan. Pakistan and China have reaffirmed their commitment to continue to forge deeper strategic ties. All Parties Hurriyat Conference has called upon the US President to highlight blatant human rights violations against Kashmiris during his meeting with Indian Prime Minister. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Mohammad Shehbaz Sharif left for France today to attend the new Global Financing Pact Summit scheduled to begin in Paris tomorrow. The Prime Minister is paying official visit to France on the invitation of French President Emmanuel Macron. The Global Financing Pact Summit will be a forum for discussion on changes in the global financial system in future to deal with the challenges of sustainable development, alternative and renewable energy sources, and climate change. The Prime Minister will address the summit as a key member of G77 and as head of the country most affected by the adverse impacts of climate change. Besides attending the summit, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif will also hold bilateral meetings with the world leaders. Earlier in a tweet today, the Prime Minister said, "New Global Financing Pact Summit represents a unique opportunity to the world to come together and agree to broad principles and steps needed for comprehensive reforms of international financial system." Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has directed the concerned authorities to bring the responsible of human trafficking to justice at the earliest. He was chairing a meeting regarding human trafficking and the recent capsizing of a boat in Mediterranean Sea near Greece in Islamabad today. The Prime Minister expressed resentment over not taking timely action to check human trafficking and concrete steps despite repetition of such incidents. He directed Interior Minister Rana Sanaullah to monitor the investigation process and formulate recommendations related to necessary legislation to prevent human trafficking. He also ordered the investigation committee to submit report at the earliest. The Prime Minister directed Commissioner Gujranwala to identify the agents involved in heinous acts of human trafficking and bring them to justice. Minister for Finance Mohammad Ishaq Dar says the government is committed to complete the International Monetary Fund program. During a meeting with Ambassador of United States to Pakistan Donald Bloom in Islamabad today, he shared the economic policies and priorities of the government to address the challenging economic environment and set the economy on the path to stability and growth. He informed the US Ambassador about the government's budgetary measures to reduce fiscal gap in order to meet its national as well as international financial obligations. On the occasion, the US Ambassador expressed confidence in the policies and programs of the government for economic sustainability and socio-economic uplift of the masses. The Economic Coordination Committee of the Cabinet has allowed government agencies to import pharmaceutical raw material to ensure availability of medicines in the country. The ECC, which met in Islamabad today with Finance Minister Ishaq Dar in the chair, approved a surcharge of 1.52 rupees per unit to be recovered from K-Electric consumers in 12 months. It also okayed release of 56 billion rupees in the favor of Power Division under a circular debt management plan against the Azad Kashmir receivables. National Assembly is continuing discussion on Budget 2023-24 and the recommendations made by Senate for inclusion in the finance bill. In her remarks, Dr. Shazia Sobia said emphasis should be given to equipping the youth with IT and other market-oriented skills. Maulana Abdul Akbar Chitrali supported Senate's recommendation of enhancing TV fee being collected from every household through electricity bills from 35 rupees to 50 rupees per month, and this increase of 15 rupees be given to Radio Pakistan. The National Assembly today passed a resolution unanimously paying rich tribute to former Prime Minister Shahid Benazir Bhutto for her struggle for the cause of democracy in Pakistan. The resolution was moved by Nawabzada Iftikhar Ahmad Khan in connection with the 70th birth anniversary of Benazir Bhutto being observed today. He emphasized that her political struggle remained vividly imprinted in our minds and hearts and would continue to inspire us. Minister for Poverty Alleviation and Social Safety Shazia Mari says Benazir Bhutto Shahid played a remarkable role in nurturing democratic values and women empowerment in the country. Addressing a press conference in Islamabad today, she said Benazir Bhutto was the ardent supporter of fundamental rights of the marginalized sections of the society. She said that establishment of ladies police stations and first women bank and appointment of women judges are the hallmark of Benazir Bhutto for empowerment of women. Shazia Mari said that Benazir Bhutto established better relationships with international community, especially with neighbors, to share economic growth. This is Radio Pakistan. Pakistan and China have reaffirmed their commitment to continue to forge deeper strategic ties. The understanding came at a meeting between Chairman Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee General Sahir Shamshad Mirza and Chinese Chief of Joint Staff Department General Liu Zhenli. During the meeting, both sides reviewed ongoing defense cooperation between China and Pakistan. General Sahir Shamshad Mirza reiterated that Pakistan-China friendship is highly valued and deep-rooted in the hearts and minds of Pakistani people. All Parties Hurriyat Conference has called upon U.S. President Joe Biden to raise the issue of blatant human rights violations by occupation forces in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir during his meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. According to Kashmir Media Service, the APHC spokesman in a statement issued in Srinagar reminded Washington of its deep commitment to protecting human rights enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. He said the lingering dispute has already consumed Kashmiris 3 generations. It is worth mentioning that the 2 U.S. lawmakers, Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Umar, have already announced to boycott Modi's address to the U.S. Congress, citing his government's repressive policies against minorities, patronizing of violent Hindu nationalist groups, and targeting of journalists and human rights defenders in India. In the United States, dozens of President Joe Biden's fellow Democrats have urged him to raise human rights issues with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi during his visit to Washington. According to a letter sent to Biden, it bears signatures of 75 senators and members of the House of Representatives. The U.S. lawmakers said they are concerned about religious intolerance, press freedoms, internet access, and the targeting of civil society groups. The letter specifically points out that State Department's 2022 country report on human rights practices in India documents the tightening of political rights and expression. The letter stresses that in order to advance these values with credibility on the world stage, we must apply them equally to friend and foe alike. World Sikh organization Sikh for Justice vowed to continue its struggle for the liberation of Punjab from Indian occupation. In a statement, General Counsel for Sikhs for Justice Guru Pavantat Singh Panoon said that the Khalistan referendum signifies the democratic expression of political opinion of the Sikh people. He said Khalistan referendum represents the aspirations of Sikhs for right to self-determination as outlined in the UN Charter, aiming to establish a sovereign Sikh state in the Indian Punjab. The Ukraine Recovery Conference has begun in London to discuss financial and political support for the country's post-war recovery. Along with more than 60 countries, representatives of international financial institutions, the private sector and civil society are also participating in the two-day event. During the opening session, UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak confirmed that his government will provide Ukraine with a multi-year $3 billion package to help stabilize its economy. According to the World Bank, Ukraine will need more than $400 billion to rebuild. Finally, the weather. Very hot and humid weather is expected in most parts of the country during the next 12 hours. However, rain, wind and thunderstorm is expected in Kashmir and adjoining areas. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analysis, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.